Hey guys, coming at you with another YJ Wrangler update. Um, got a bunch of stuff done in the past couple days, so I figured I would update y'all on it. Um, Starting off, we got the engine bay wiring harness installed, the PCM is installed, light harness is installed. I ran a ground strap cable thingy and got my battery tray painted and installed, as well as I mounted up my fuse panel there, or relay panel rather. And down here I got my fuel pressure regulator installed. I decided that I'm not going to run a mechanical fuel pump just because of the modification that I would have to do to the factory fuel sending unit setup, which, as you can see, I have put the factory fuel pump back in it and everything. I went to go put it in the tank, and the factory tank that I had, the bolts that I went to use, which were brand new bolts that came with the previous gas tank that I had in it, those bolts just broke off inside the little nuts inside the tank, and I have no way of extracting those bolts, and I have no way of getting rid of those nuts inside the tank, so I have to buy a new fuel tank now, which is great. A couple minutes ago, I hooked up a jump pack to the positive terminal there for the wiring harness and the negative terminal, as well as my negative battery terminal, wherever it is. And I do have power. I got power for at least my lights. And when I put the key on to ignition, I can see my gauges all light up and try to read, which obviously they can't because there's nothing to read. I got my rear diff full of, well, not full, but I have gear oil in my rear diff. Unfortunately, it is seeping, so I have to put a gasket on the diff cover. My RTV job must not have been that good. Trying to think. I got my distributor in. I'm waiting on a hold down for that. I got a vacuum advance line run, which I'll be disconnecting that for when I do the actual engine break-in, because you're not supposed to have that for the engine break-in. Trying to think. What else did I do? That was what I did. Yesterday, I filled the engine with break-in oil, and I used an oil priming tool, and I primed the engine with oil. So I got oil coming to all 16 rockers. I basically, what I did was I ran my drill for a couple minutes, rotated the engine 90 degrees, ran the drill for a couple minutes, rotated the engine 90 degrees, ran the drill, rotated the engine 90 degrees, ran the drill. And I repeated that. Really, you just need to repeat it until you get oil to all rockers. I just repeated it until I got back to where I was, which is I have it set to 0 degrees before top dead center, compression stroke, cylinder 1, which is where you want to be for setting up the timing. What else? It's a little tough because now we're approaching on the waiting for more money stage, waiting for more parts. Yeah, I mean, I think back here I got my I got the, like I said in the last video, I had the rear body harness ran, and I got the taillights hooked up. I don't have lenses for these taillights because I stole them for another Jeep that I had that I got rid of. But I have to get lenses and gaskets for these taillights. And I also put on my spare tire carrier bumper here. But, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess just to recap, for the fuel system, now I just need to get a fuel tank, really, and the little vents that go on top of it. And then I can put my fuel sending unit in that tank, put the tank in that skid plate, and then put the whole thing up into the Jeep. And I'll be able to hook up the filler neck and lines and put the fuel cap on it. I can put my license plate on the back once I do that. Then I have to run. See, that's where the factory fuel line going to the engine connects. So I have to run a fuel hose from there to the regulator, and then from the regulator along the firewall behind the distributor and to this bar of all my carburetor fuel lines. So for the fuel system, that's all I got to do. I just got to get a fuel tank. I got to get the fuel tank vents. I have to get a filler neck, breather neck, or filler neck and vent tube. Fill tube, vent tube, whatever. And a gas cap for the fuel lines, or for the fuel system. And then obviously fuel line. For the accessory drive, I just have to get an alternator. I'm not running power steering on this Jeep, so I don't have to worry about that. Although, as is obvious, I have a 2-groove setup, so if I choose to run power steering at some point in the future, I can. I don't really know that I will, just because I'm not off-roading in this thing, and I want to just buy a manual steering gearbox, so probably end up just running manual steering, at least for a little while. So yeah, I just got to get an alternator and then wire that up. I also have to get a battery, obviously. Waiting on my distributor hold down to come in. Once that is in, I can put that on, and I can put my plug wires on and run them and separate them and everything. I have to get a new PCV breather because this one is very loose in here. I don't know if it's the it's probably just the grommet, but it's very, I'm just putting light pressure on it and it's wiggling out. So with the engine running, that'll just end up falling out, and that's obviously not going to create a good seal. So kind of defeats the purpose. Then for the coolant system, I obviously need to get a radiator and lines and a radiator cap and figure out something with an overflow tank. I don't think I want to use the factory overflow tank because it would get in the way of the fuel pressure regulator. It would just not it wouldn't interfere with it, but it would block it and it would be hard to adjust it. So I would rather just do something with maybe mount one over there or on the inner fender here. And then once that's in, I can hook up the radiator to the engine, fill the engine with coolant. Hopefully it doesn't leak. If it does, that would be terrible news. Brakes, I still have to get literally everything for the brake system apart from the master cylinder. Master cylinder was new when I took everything apart. Now it's older, but it's still usable. I don't see any reason not to use it. The only thing that I've ran into is that I take this out to fill the oil, to fill the engine with oil, and this brake line gets right in the way of putting the funnel there. It makes it kind of a pain, but I think I'm just going to live with that. That's not really a big deal. My brother suggested putting a CJ7 style master cylinder on it where the brake lines come out this side rather than that side, but I really just don't think that that's monetarily worth it just because a line gets in the way. I mean, plus I could just cut this line shorter, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. As far as the steering goes, I have to get my steering box, manual steering box. I have to get my steering shaft, and I have to get my steering linkage. I have one in it, but the boots are all gone, and I would rather just replace it with new stuff. So get a new steering linkage, tie rods, and everything. And I want to get a factory sway bar to put on the front, as well as I'll probably end up putting the factory panhard bar back on the front just to limit the suspension sway some more. You know, I'm not going for superior handling here, but I'm not going for superior handling to something like a Corvette, but I'm going for superior handling for how it is right now. I obviously can't put a panhard bar on the rear end because it doesn't have the provisions for it, and I don't want to put the provisions on it. I don't want to put the bracket on or anything. That's too much work. So, body wise, I have to get I took my windshield frame off to replace the cowl seal. So I have to get a new cowl seal, then I could put my windshield frame back on, I could put my crossbars back on, and then body-wise, I need to get fender flares, and I need to get a top of some sort for it, probably a soft top. And then I need to put my spare tire carrier back on, and I need to figure out a spare tire. I don't know if I'm keeping these wheels on it. I might, just because they're here. I can obviously fit, wheels that are a good 3 inches wider than these. I can definitely fit 15 by 10s. So I've been toying with that idea, but then again, I don't hate these wheels, but we'll see. I don't know. I'll see how it looks, and I'll go from there. But yeah, and then interior wise, I need to get the trans tunnel cover and a shifter, and that's pretty much it. And trans tunnel cover, shifter, and little shit like the wiper arm, or not the wiper arm, the turn signal stock. That's what I was looking for. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I will keep you guys updated. I'll do another update video. Probably the next one I'll do is whenever I have the alternator in, and maybe the radiator in. So look for that. Otherwise, I will see you guys next one.